course, when I was a boy, maybe 6.5, 7, I idolized the actor Franco Nero, the hero of many films in the Western genre. Determined to be just like the great Mr. Nero, I asked my father, whose name was J. Hondo, if he could bestow upon his dear and only son spurs, a vest, cowboy vest, that is, and a 10-gallon hat. See, I wanted to mount a horse, true and stable, and ride off into the sunset. Now, my father owned a haberdashery, just like the one owned by the kind-hearted Mr. Sweefer, who I did not have the pleasure of knowing until recently. My father said, "Son, let me check the back. I might have just the thing for you." After a few moments, my father returned wearing a cape, sunglasses, and a sailor hat. He was mistaken in his understanding of the situation. He died several days later under circumstances as mysterious as they are unlikely. Goodness knows, I often think of him, although I'm sure my perception of the man is mostly inaccurate and informed by the sorts of delusions of fancy common to childhood, and later the fresh terrors of my tweenhood years. After lowering my father into a shallow grave, I was sent by the authorities to live with my alleged uncle, a man by the name of Russell Valentine, on his rooster farm. You see, I couldn't simply remain with my mother, whose name was Louis Godhenry, for she had died several years earlier under identical, mysterious, and unlikely circumstances. Old Russ, as Russell implored me to call him, wasn't actually a relative at all. My sentence to his farm was the result of a bureaucratic error. Now, old Russ was neither a kind nor affectionate host. He treated me no differently than he treated his farmhands, Coed and Tevin, except for this. He paid them a very fair wage, covered the cost of their health care, and gave them 25 days of what's known as paid time off annually. I was made to take out the kitchen trash, sweep the floors, mow the lawn, and run errands on my bicycle. Goodness knows I received no pay, benefits, or what's known as paid time off. One day, old Russ's brain turned. He came up from a long day in the fields and asked me to sit upon his knee. I was 17 years of age at this point. Despite that, I made my best effort to sit upon his knee as requested. He kissed my hair and said, "I've raised you as my own boy these last 10 years, and you've been a good one, a good boy. But now you're almost 18 years of age, at which point you'll leave my farm and my heart for good, never to return as is tradition." I began to cry, for I was weak-willed. Old Russ continued, "Son, I want to equip you with certain knowledge. This certain knowledge will guide you through life's darker moments and ensure they are far outnumbered by its brighter ones." Old Russ moved his mouth close to my ear and whispered in a low tone, unnecessarily, for Coed and Tevin were laboring in the fields and wouldn't have been able to hear old Russ over the noise of their John Deere tractor, even if he had screamed at the top of his failing lungs. "I will expose you to the truth, to the one true truth, the one true truth that is Shy Fortune," old Russ continued, his voice becoming very strained from a lifetime of unfiltered cigarettes. Just like the one owned by the kind-hearted Mr. Sweefer.